The tomb that you see here is what they've stolen. They took tombs, they took graves, they took African people's bodies and bones and what have you, so that Europeans could benefit and build high, quote-unquote, civilizations and societies. What you see here is the first hieroglyphic drawings. And the thing about the drawings is that unlike letters, and you even hear this in many African languages, that they're not even the words in English that would translate to some of the meanings that we have in some of our natural African languages. And even more so, with the pictorial references that you see here, it tells a more complete story. It's a lot more comprehensive than just the narrowly defined words. In a certain picture that can, like they say, they're saying a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so the pictorial representations would be symbols through which Africans would communicate their ideas and what have you to leave for future generations such as ourselves to see and witness, and also to take back. What you see here is a clearly African head, and they want to make you think that Africa was anything, Egypt was anything other than Africa. The reason they have to make you think that is because if you understand that Egypt was African, and Egypt is the link, quote unquote, to the rest of the civilization of the world, they try to make you really think that Egypt is not African, but Egypt is obviously African. And you'll see this head here, this inscription. If you look at his nose looks like my nose. Look at his lips look like my lips, and the ears. Of course, the features are all obviously ostensibly African. And so you have this same picture here again, which looks like an older African man, wide, broad nose, the characteristic African cheekbones. It's all there, the evidence is there. And
black-looking white man.
It's part of the whole process of white supremacy and domination and the white power racist ideology is based upon the fact that Africans have never contributed anything to society, when the fact is that everything that they can really articulate comes from some African contribution, whether it's in terms of mathematics, architecture, celestial navigation, or what have you. And I don't say that just to make you feel good, although you should feel good. I'm just saying that the objective reality, as you see, this may be your grandfather here in drawings. This is where it has come from. What you see is they break off the nose, they chip off the nose, they try to blur off the lips to keep, to remove the obvious African presence that's there. The difficulty is that if they destroy too much, they destroy the artifact itself, and they won't be able to put it in the museum. So still, obviously, you can extrapolate and see the broad nose that exists here, to be able to see the lips and what have you, and also to the crown. It's a phenomenal civilization that you had in Africa and what they call Egypt. And Egypt's real name actually wasn't Egypt. The name of Egypt was actually Kemet. Kemet is a word that means land of the blacks. And I think that's very telling. What you see here is the prototype, as we said earlier. The prototype flowed out of Africa after the colonization of Africa. A lot of the knowledge was taken forward. But Isis is the Greek. Ideological implications for white people admitting that Egypt was African, black, you and me, is quite phenomenal, because they can't deny the fact that Greek civilization, that Roman civilization, and everything that they hail about democracy and all these other things that came from Greece and Rome, whatever, they came from Egypt. They know that. So the problem that they have, the quagmire that they find themselves in, is that they can't allow Egypt to be considered black. Because, of course, black people haven't done anything. You're lazy, shiftless, no good, Negro, never contributed anything to human civilization. But as we've gone through the course of this, you'll see that almost anything you could think of, from math to science, astronomy, celestial navigation, the ability to transport human beings from one side of the earth to the other, Africans had done. But more specifically, you'll see how they entitled Egypt and Africa, as though Egypt is somehow disconnected from Africa. Of course, Egypt is a Greek word. That was the name that the Greeks who invaded named Egypt. The actual name of Egypt, as I said earlier, is Kemet. Kemet literally translates to mean land of the blacks. More than that, the reality is that what they call Egyptian civilization was dependent on the civilizations that came from the south of what they call current day Sudan and Ethiopia. That is because the Nile River, as I said earlier, flows from south to north. Human beings probably originated in this area, general southern area here, in an equatorial location. And as time progressed, they moved along with the direction of the Nile which flows from this direction upward. And what you'll see, you just talked about the pyramids of Giza there. There were hundreds and hundreds of smaller pyramids all throughout what they call current day Sudan and Egypt that you can visit today. And the most commonly referenced place in the Bible is Egypt. And so, you know, it has phenomenal type of implications for them to tell you Egypt and Africa. Egypt is totally different than black, and got nothing to do with black, But history, if you just walk through their own museum of stuff they've stolen from you, you'll see that that's exactly the case. That it is African, that it is black, undeniable. Now, think about this, Egypt and Africa. We're going to look at the next picture. Now, what does it look like? Of a conflict between African people. And the reality, and of course, see, Africans fought way before white people ever came. That's what they'll sell to you. Africans fought long before you ever came. Yes, that is true, that Africans have fought for thousands of years. We are very skilled and understand military combat and military tactics and strategy. But the difference is, with Africans fighting with each other, like you have fights with your family. The reality is that if Africans fight with each other, we're not trying to cut out your uterus and make headbands out of them. We're not trying to castrate you and put you into and sell your body parts as souvenirs, as white people did with Africans in the U.S. and what have you in other places. We're not trying to chop off your hands and mounds and kill you by the millions, because the reality is that regardless of conflicts that we would have with one another, African society was still organized around the needs of society and the needs of family. So even when there were conflicts, if there were conflicts and there were contradictions, no one's trying to liquidate contradictions. But the reality is that they often try to use this concept that Africans were fighting anyway as some sort of reason why, or to justify the colonization and destruction of African culture and civilization. Hair.
For their Mediterranean hair?
Yeah, I guess you need a wooden comb for Mediterranean hair, right?